Hey guys, it's Kevin from the Potency Project, and in this video, we're going to talk about the law of attention. So the main characteristic of your conscious mind, or the main aspect of your conscious mind, is attention. So attention is when you're focusing on something, when you're thinking about something, when you're putting your attention on whatever it is, a person, place, a thing, a situation. What the law of attention states is that whatever you put your attention on, you are going to create stories and ideas about that thing. And however long you keep your attention on that thing, you're going to come up with more and more stories or ideas about it. Just think about any situation. You put your attention on it. You just hold your attention on it. Let's say you're in the shower. That's a good place that people keep their attention on something. So you're in the shower and you're holding your attention on something. You're going to just keep coming up with ideas and creating more and more of a story about something the longer you hold your attention on it. And attention doesn't have to be you're just thinking and thinking and thinking. Because you can be showering, your attention is held on it, ideas are going to pop into your head, or a story is going to pop into your head about whatever you're holding your attention on. And if you're utilizing your subconscious mind at the same time, where there's lapses of consciousness, that's going to be more where gut feelings, or you're using your intuition and the law of attention at the same time. So you're in the shower, you're holding your attention on something, but also you're doing something else. So you're not 100% just thinking. You're showering, but you're holding your attention. So there's attention and then lapses of consciousness. And during that lapse of consciousness, you're going to come up with an idea or a story. So if you're using the subconscious mind and the conscious mind at the same time, then you're going to have gut feelings, you're going to be using your intuition. If you're just thinking and there's really no lapses of consciousness, you will still create ideas. You'll still create the story. That'll be more irrational ideas, like you're just making things up and it's probably not even true. When gut feelings or your intuition are usually true. I mean, sometimes they cannot be, but generally if you're just using your conscious mind and your attention and you're just thinking and just creating more and more of a story, it's generally not going to be true and it's just going to be all made up usually. But the longer you keep your attention on it, it doesn't matter whether it's with your subconscious mind or with your conscious mind, you are going to create more and more of stories about it, more and more ideas about it. This is the most powerful, special thing that people can do, is use the law of attention. No other thing in the world can use the law of attention like we can. We can put our attention on things, come up with stories about them. The stories will just come to us spontaneously, or it'll come compulsively, whether you're using your subconscious mind or only your conscious mind. But stories will just get created and it's amazing. It's our imagination working for us. Let's say you want to be very creative. You have an idea for something, but you're not really sure how to accomplish that, or you're not really sure the whole picture, but you have an idea. You have maybe an end point, or maybe you have a middle point or a beginning point. It doesn't really matter. Put your attention on that thing. Let's say go for a walk, but keep your attention on that thing. Or maybe you go for a drive, or maybe you're in the shower. Over time, the longer you keep your attention on that thing, the more you're going to come up with ideas, the more you're going to come up with a story that all of a sudden starts to round out that initial thing that you wanted to be creative about. And this is how mostly everybody comes up with ideas, if they're a writer, a director, an artist, however they like to go through the process of using the law of attention. One of my favorite ways is just to turn on some music, have a notepad and pen, kind of just like pace back and forth and groove to the music and keep my attention on something. And then something will pop into my head and I'll write it down. And then I'll go back to grooving, walking back and forth, and then another idea will pop in my head and I'll write it down. After a while, I just have idea after idea after idea, and it wasn't that I was just thinking about this thing. I was holding my attention on it and letting my subconscious mind pop up with ideas and stuff like that. I utilize that in the same way. I'll take a drive and hold my attention on something and I'll just come up with ideas. I could go take a walk. Whatever it is, everybody has their way of doing things. And some people could do yoga, some people could take a bath. Most of the time, that is when you're going to be the most creative, but it's a double-edged sword because the law of attention works the same whether you're using your subconscious subconscious mind, or you're only using your conscious mind. You could be in the shower or going for a walk or going for a drive, and you're just thinking, and you have your attention on this thing. You're not using your subconscious mind. You're only creating irrational ideas towards whatever it is. And so it could be making the situation worse. Most of the time when that is the situation, it'll be like it's a negative situation that your attention on. It's something that you're unhappy about, and you're just creating more and more of a problem because you're just making things up. This could also happen though. Let's say it's something you want to create. The ideas that you create just won't be good if you're just doing it with your conscious mind. You'll notice that. It'll just be like you're just trying to make shit up. You're just coming up with things as opposed to allowing ideas to come up. The most powerful resource that you have is your imagination. You can think of unlimited and irrational scenarios when it comes to any situation. If you're gonna put your attention on any situation, any subject, anything, you can create different realities with your imagination based on whatever that thing is. So you have one thing, you keep your attention on that thing. You can come up with hundreds, generally it won't be thousands, but it'll be hundreds, whatever, 50, 20, 10 different scenarios in your brain. And a lot of them won't be possible, but some of them will be possible. And that's the coolest thing about your imagination, as it is creating multiple realities, unlimited realities in the moment. What theoretical physicists talk about as there are multiple dimensions. There's like an unlimited amount of dimensions or realities that are possible, and it's through our imagination. So if you're using your conscious mind and your subconscious mind at the same time, you're putting your attention on a subject or a situation, and then your brain will automatically go through like 1,000 different potentials, and you won't even know that it's doing that. And so your imagination allows you to experience different realities, different dimensions of possibilities without you having to really experience them because they're not possible in this reality. So when you have your attention on something, it could be something that is a truth, is a fact, or just is a reality. But also there could be a situation where there is an unknown. And it could be a reality, but then there's an unknown in the situation. Or it could just be there's an unknown. The more that there is an unknown, the more you are going to create stories and ideas about that thing. No matter what, if you keep your attention on something, you're going to create stories and ideas. But if there is an unknown, you're going to create even more and more stories and ideas about that thing. The more there's an unknown, the more that you're going to actually believe whatever you came up with, whatever ideas you have, whatever stories that you came up with. And it doesn't even have to be the truth. As long as there's an unknown, as long as it makes sense to you, generally you're gonna believe it because your brain is not happy with unknowns. So it doesn't matter what it is. Let's say there's an unknown sound. Your brain is going to put something in that place and rationalize it and come up with something in your imagination that says what that is. And it could be a person. It could be a thing. It happens instantaneously. There's an unknown. You're like, what's that sound? Who's that? And all of a sudden, boom. It's like, oh, okay, you come up with something immediately. And the more you put your attention on that, the more you'll create a story about that, and the more you'll generally believe it until you get other evidence. This is how we really are judgmental, because we'll see a person or a thing immediately. We kind of already know a story about it based on our past, but we also will create a story in the moment based on the situation. In the moment, we see somebody, something, and we boom, make a judgment and have a story about them, about what we think is the situation. This is the law of attention. Whether we hold our attention on something or if there is an unknown, we're constantly creating stories, creating ideas about things, no matter where our attention is. This works all the time, no matter what the situation is. As long as you're in attention in your conscious mind, you're going to be creating stories about things. This is when people overthink and they can't shut their minds off, is because they're constantly in their conscious mind, they're consciously putting their attention here, putting their attention there. It's always somewhere. But the only time attention doesn't work is when you're in your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is synonymous with no attention and lapses of consciousness. Attention and adrenaline or any of the hormones of the sympathetic state go together. So if something is going to happen and it like triggers adrenaline, that is going to grab your attention a lot. Or if you feel adrenaline in some certain situation, you are going to pay attention a lot. So it's going to be synonymous. Depending on how much something triggers adrenaline or how much adrenaline is triggered, that's how much attention you're going to pay. It could be like you're 100% focused, you're paying full attention or it could be not that much. So it depends on how much adrenaline is triggered. So it could be you see something traumatic or you see something amazing, and that's like a lot of adrenaline. You're like paying attention 100%. So you're getting all these different details of the situation. It's like a real situation. Let's say in the future, could be a year, 2, 3 years, 10 years later, you still vividly can experience or remember what happened in that situation because so much adrenaline got activated and that created attention. As opposed to just in your daily life, things are going on. Adrenaline isn't really getting created, and maybe you can't even remember what you did the day before because adrenaline didn't really get triggered that much, and maybe you weren't even paying that much attention. Maybe you were in your subconscious mind and you were just in your program. You weren't even thinking. So it just depends on how much you are using your attention. The more that adrenaline gets triggered, the more value or special meaning or importance you're going to give to a situation. If a traumatic or amazing thing happens, so much adrenaline gets triggered, you're going to give more importance, value, special meaning to that situation. As opposed to just in your normal life, nothing really triggered your adrenaline, there's not much special meaning to it. So that's the law of attention. It's your imagination allowing you to experience multiple realities without you being able to do that. And it's synonymous with adrenaline, giving things special meaning, importance, and value. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Comment and question below, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.